Joining me now is senior advocate and Congress leader Dr. Abhishek Manu Singhvi, the man who has in many ways become the courtroom face of the battle against what many call runaway Raj Bhavans. Dr. Singhvi has led the arguments before Justice Pardiwala's bench in the Tamil Nadu governor case and opened the batting in the crucial presidential reference on the powers of the governors. And he's joining me now. So, Dr. Singhvi, straight to my first question. As someone who argued both the Tamil Nadu governor case and the presidential reference, do you see this verdict as a watershed moment that structurally disciplines governors, or is it still a case, a specific perhaps, should I say, a case specific rebuke that future Raj Bhavans can sidestep?
This is a large issue, Marya, but first comment would be that you can discount everything I say on account of being a person who led the battle. So there is that voluntary disclosure which you made. But let me tell you that everybody needs to look at the issue a little contextually and purposefully. Justice Padiwala's bench was dealing with an issue where they felt that they had to give a purposive, a teleological, a interpretation to the constitution which was in sync with what was happening in the country for the last 4 or 5 years. That is what people tend to forget. Now, all constitutional interpretation is contextual. It is dynamic. It is evolving. No, we in this country do not have this, crazy theory of original intent. The text, as in 1947 and 50, will remain static, and we have to find out what they originally thought. So Justice Padiwala's bench was looking to plug a clear current mischief and to find a remedy. And that remedy had started from, across the country. And I have no hesitation in saying that, unfortunately, it affected only those states with a political color different than that of the center. And most of it was happening after 2014. So you had Punjab, you had Tamil Nadu, you had West Bengal, you had Kerala, and so on. So what did he find? He found that long delays were happening, inordinately long delays. So he actually said that instead of giving sermons, instead of giving lectures, instead of expressing a hope on the nobility of the office of the governor and saying that we hope and expect they will decide, give a practical last mile connectivity solution, a remedy which syncs with the ground reality. So the judges walked the talk in giving a time limit and going even further and giving a deemed asset. Now that is the context which people tend to forget, that all this is happening while people are saying, we hope and trust that governors will do this. We wish that governors are paragons of virtue. We wish that central government is paragon of virtue. And we therefore expect. He said, no, this is happening time and again. So leave aside deemed asset, which perhaps went a little too far. But I want to ask, why not time limits? Today, what is the presidential reference done? Today, the presidential reference has put another kind of a time limit, but which is ambiguous, vague, general, and does nothing in terms of actual remedy. So today, the presidential reference says that yes, we have the power to chastise the governor. We have the power that Marya Shakil files a petition saying so-and-so governor is sitting on a assent. The governor, Singhvi, then files a counter. Then Marya files a rejoinder, and we'll decide on that particular case. This process may take 6 months, it may take 5 months, it may take 7 months. And then we will say, look, it's pending too long with you, you decide soon. Again, we won't give a time limit, but our direction will act as a decision. So you will have the same result, but after a delay of 7-8 months. Is there a solution? You know that almost 90% of bills are moved in the face of a need, a policy which is again current. That policy loses its efficacy, its entire context and rationale after 2 to 3 months. What to talk of a litigation, which I will do to get it operationalized through that act after 7, 8, 9 months. So really this was, I think the time limits, yes, you could have tweaked with the time limit, said 1 month is too little, 3 months is all right. But to say that you will not give a time limit at all is wrong. And let me tell you one more thing, Marya. It's been said, there is no constitutional text saying 3 months. Of course there is none. But since when are you shy of that? Do you know that the entire power of appointing judges for the last some 35, 40 years from 92 onwards has been taken by the Supreme Court in the so-called collegium by reading a word consultation in Article 124 to mean concurrence. Is it written in the Constitution that you will appoint judges as a collegium?
Okay.
In several other cases, you have stipulated time limits, any number for the speaker in its action under the 10th schedule. I know he's a tribunal there. He's
Okay.
not acting as a speaker.
Okay.
But still, you have
Dr.
stipulated time
Singhvi,
limits. Is
Dr.
there a time
Singhvi.
limit in the 10th schedule?
Okay. Dr. Singhvi,
So
you have.
I would criticize this presidential reference order on this count in particular.
Okay. Dr. Singhvi, you have repeatedly argued that a governor is not a super chief minister, but a constitutional figurehead who is bound by aid and advice of the Council of Ministers. And after this verdict, is that principle finally enforceable, or do you still see grey zones that an aggressive governor and a centre can exploit?
I see several grey zones which the centre can and I have no doubt will exploit. The Malays was well known before the Padiwala division bench judgment. Today, this judgment, this order in the presidential reference is given a license for delay, delay, and delay. And what is the delay about? It is about states, and let us have no shyness in talk about it, which are of a color politically different. Has it ever happened in a BJP state where the central government is also the BJP? So this is the reality you have to deal with. And let me tell you that I refer to you, you are the governor, you refer it back to me. I have a right to refer it second time to you, I refer it back to you. Why should I be able to then on a second reference refer it to the president? Your options to give either assent or return it back to me or to refer to the president have to happen when I give it to the first time. Why is that discretion been added? What is wrong in that? You're really clearly trying to delay. You did not think of referring to the president when you referred it back to me. Okay, so let us let that pass. You have given all the right noises by saying you know super chief minister. I had argued that famous phrase, "Ek myan mein do talwar nahi," no swords in one scabbard. But in actual fact, what are you doing? The idea is that an elected entity has also the fundamental right to do wrong. Because they are elected and they will do mostly right but some wrong, and they will be diselected next time on the wrongs they do. But today the governor will be able to act on the policy behind the bill in the name of his discretion. Now, the discretion is of course there. There is no doubt that he may return, he may assent, or he may refer. There is one argument that he is bound in all three by the cabinet advice. Let me assume that is wrong. That I think perhaps an argument which need not be accepted. The governor has that discretion. But the governor cannot have a discretion of first sitting back on a bill, then taking weeks, then saying, okay, I now initiate dialogue with you, which is the other part of the presidential reference order. You meaning the state government. I'll have a dialogue and I'll discuss with you the other problems in the bill. The state government says, no, sir, sorry, it's our view. Then there can't be a discretion. This back and forth dialectics can't work. And it will actually never work in practice, and you would have achieved in practice the whole object of delay which you are trying to avoid. We are talking of plus 2 years delay in the Tamil Nadu matter I did. I happen also to be privileged to argue the original Punjab matter and the West Bengal matter. West Bengal has several bills touching a year. Did the Baba Sahib ever imagine in 47, 48, 50, that a governor would sit on a bill for even 3 months, much less 1 year and 2 years? So are we not being very abstract? And are we on the left hand saying he's not a super CM, but in effect, by diluting significantly Justice Padiwala's judgment, let's assume we diluted the deemed assent. Let's take deemed assent away. If they had kept the time limits, if they had said you can't have a second thought and then refer to the president as an excuse on a second round,
okay,
and if they had cut out all this dialogue business, then it is still understandable because you have given efficacy to the object of the governor not being a dual CM. But actually, you paid lip service to that principle.
So, if you were advising an opposition chief minister tonight or over the next few days, Dr. Singhvi, what concrete changes and strategy would you suggest while dealing with a hostile governor on issues like bills, cabinet advice, and also flow, perhaps what will be tests in the wake of this judgment?
Well, there is still positivity left after this. And one more sentence before I answer your question. I don't also agree with this increasing practice of nullifying Supreme Court judgments by whatever techniques other than review and curative petitions. It's true that this judgment says the Tamil Nadu government and the Tamil Nadu judgment stands for the bills which have been deemed as under that judgment. And it's true that it's not an appeal from the Padiwala division bench order. But in effect, this practice of having a central government referred presidential reference will amount soon to a very nice technique to reverse inconvenient judgments by other parts of the division bench of the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court is right because it is final. It is not final because it is right. Even if a judgment comes, you cannot have an intra-court appeal. And this practice must be very carefully looked at and should not be encouraged in future times. But to answer your question, the positivity is this. I think the state governments have to be vigilant, have to be assertive and active. I'm not talking of overruling a presidential reference 5-judge judgment, where the ink is hardly dry. And I think, there is no point talking about things like that. But they must challenge all delays. That challenge must be prosecuted with diligence. And the court has given you the window of not only maintaining the challenge, but of chastising the governor for that delay. And I think that is the only public embarrassment which can lead to quick decision making.
Dr. Singhvi, so politically, do you worry that the centre can still use Raj Bhavans as instruments of pressure and delay, and that litigation will always come too late? Or does this verdict, combined with the Tamil Nadu and presidential reference line of cases, create enough deterrence to perhaps change the behavior on the ground?
I'm very sorry to say it does the reverse. That's the blunt truth. There is no question of deterrence. This is a significant dilution of the original Tamil Nadu division bench headed by Justice Padiwala. Number two, it's a dilution in the wrong direction. Number three, it is not a question of can state governments and central government. I had used, and I'm only repeating what's an argument. I'm not saying that you may accept it because I was the counsel and I said you can discount my conflict of interest. That put your hand on your heart, and can governors be called, as I had in one of my submissions, since Supari agents of the central government? Are there not 5-6 states repeatedly of a color different than the center where we have found that conduct? And that certainly includes Tamil Nadu, West Bengal, partly Punjab, Kerala, etc. Degrees may vary. And in that situation, what will happen? You will clearly have a situation where people will act on the basis of this judgment saying, I have a discretion, this judgment meaning the presidential reference judgment, I have a discretion, I can sit indefinitely, I am the boss, and I will, engage in some long-term discussion. And remember, ultimately all this dialectic is for what? It is for doing a statute, a state act, which will bring benefit to the state according to the state government. If it doesn't bring benefit to the state, the governor is no decider of it, nor is the central government a decider of it. Let the state government be damned for passing laws which are anti-state. But the way to act on this is not to start delaying bills indefinitely and then I have to go to court. Ultimately, in stark cases, I have no doubt the court will hold in our favor for a state. This is too much, sir. This is 3 months delay, 6 months delay. But is that the right way? And the process of courts is episodic. It is individual case oriented.
Okay.
It is not collective. So you will go to a case, you will get a judgment. The process will take a minimum of 8 to 9 months if you are lucky. The bill will lose its relevance. And then you start all over again for the next bill.
My last question, sir, and this is with regards to Chief Justice Gavai. His tenure has been brief. It was just for 6 months. You have a new Chief Justice of India. As a senior counsel, what do you see the legacy of Justice Gavai will be, according to you?
Let me say straight away, unconditionally, it's been an outstanding tenure. Please don't link my answers with the discussion on the presidential reference. We may disagree on the content of a judgment, and I've been critical of the judgment, as have been other judgments which are liable to be criticized. That always happens in adjudication. But his tenure in the short time and dehors the short time and despite the short time has been quite outstanding. Hardly a misstep. Judgments, of course, have been maybe erroneous and not as one would like it in one particular case or another particular case, given the perspective you have. But he has a very nice, light feather touch. He's very pragmatic. He's very disposal oriented. He's very decisive. He's very, on the ground result oriented. B, he's very temperamentally, he manages to carry the bar and most of his colleagues of the bench and the system together. That's very important for a leader in any situation, ecosystem, especially the judicial one. Third, he has been quite fearless when he wants to be, or when the situation so requires. I mean, I don't think it's easy to give the judgment. I may not agree, it's not the question of my own view, but it's not easy to give a judgment being a Dalit, addressing the reality of a creamy layer in that community. There is a lot of view and statistics which may support it this way. There's a lot of view which may condemn it, as indeed a lot of people have from his community condemned it. But when he felt it, he walked the talk. And that, I think, requires courage. And fourthly, he has made a very large number of judicial appointments. We are not talking about whether you have the power to do the collegium or not. Now you do clearly. So 110 or 107 such appointments in 6 months. It's a pretty good record, and that doesn't happen unless I can carry not the collegium, but a large number of my colleagues together somehow in a positive way, including the other organs, be it executive and legislature. So I think these are good things, and he's had a good run, and I really wish him well, and I'm sure that he'll be very active in the years to come.
All right, Dr. Singhvi, always a pleasure speaking to you, sir. Thank you for your time.